This is going to be fun. So let me check if we are actually live on YouTube. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see. Live. Yep. We should be live on YouTube any moment right now. Okay. Checking it right now. Okay. Perfect. Looks like we are right. So today I want to talk about my insights about building $1 million AI business model. So the reason I came up with this concept is because over the last 7 to 8 years, I was in the business only building like one-on-one, like offering my services as an agency, like a one-on-one service business, and I was not even selling like one to many, and I did not have to actually because of the people that I was focusing on. So I did not have to. So the business model that I was focusing on wanted or should have changed because of how I was operating. So all this information that I'm sharing with you is kind of my insights on what I was learning as I wanted to go build my own business, going over as much as 1 million ARR, right? So that's what I want to build. And at the same time, with all the AI hype that is happening in the world, I want to focus more on AI business. And at the same time, I do not want to have a massive infrastructure business. So the biggest question that I started to ask myself was, can you really build a business solo with AI, especially without employees, without knowledge? I don't think without knowledge is possible, or without capital. I don't think that is possible as well. So yeah, the whole thing started with the hype of AI, of building a business solo, and when I started taking action, here are some of the constraints I realized. I kind of took them as a note so that I can walk you through the entire system, or walk you through the constraints that I've observed, and see if you can actually skip them as well, because it took me a while for me to skip them or find a solution for them. I just want to share them here so that if you can just skip one step, yeah, that's cool. So the constraint is, if I'm using AI for the next steps, should I consider AI like a co-founder equal with the experience kind of stuff, or should it be more like an employee? That was the biggest question that I was actually looking at, because one thing, after going through this process, I realized that AI is kind of like not at a place where I can see itself as a co-founder. Here's why. So I want inputs whenever I ask questions, it gives probably data based on votes or most responses or common responses. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of a experience. When I ask a question, I wanted saying that, hey, here is how I'm going to do it. You follow my lead. Cool. That is what, let's suppose if you are hiring an agency, you do not want inputs from them for you to go and do the paid ads, right? So you want them to do it for you. And if you're bringing as a business owner, as a partner, if you're bringing up a co-founder as an agency owner, that's what you would expect to do. That's what I would expect to do. So that's also one of the reasons I was not seeing AI at the level of co-founder, but it's a really good employee. So, anyways, based on the live experiences, yeah, I want more based on doing stuff. Let's take an example, going from point A to point B. 3 points actually. So let's suppose there are three options. First one is we are going to walk. The second one is going to where we are going to drive, and the second point from point A to is going to flight, right? Yeah, I will look at most past journeys from point A to point B, like what most people did, what worked for most people, and what is most common for them, right? And it gives you a response based on that data. It also is important to get data based on. It's also important to get responses based on data, but that's not the only thing as well. Here is what I felt when I was getting this data. Even though if I ask it to, hey, give me a social media plan, at the end of the day, it is coming up to me saying that here's my plan, go. I do not know how validated the plan is, right? I'm just having a chat with an AI, and I'm coming up with a plan. I'm not so sure if it works. It's just up to me to work it out, see if it works, right? And AI right now was leaving the final verdict to me. And let's suppose if I do not do it, there is no consequences, right? Let's suppose I put together like 3 weeks worth of 3 weeks into creating a social media plan for 2026. And let's suppose I did not take action. Is AI going to help me accountable for it? No. So it's going to leave me to make my own decisions. But if I have a co-founder, would he leave me there? No, he's going to question me, or he's going to ask me, what are you doing? Because we worked on a plan that we did not actually are executing on, right? So that's the final verdict. So that's also one of the reasons I feel like AI is not at a place of in co-founder. It's more like an AI employee at this point in time. And for example, this is how I will be getting how I see an employee as an AI. So the one important thing is, if I ask it a question, it is really good at giving me answers faster. I'm not considering the quality of the answers. It depends on the quality of the input, right? So let's suppose if I'm giving a really good detailed question, it is really giving me insights on, hey, here is what I think on the data that you have asked me, or on the questions that you've asked me, right? At the end of the day, which is also leaving me to manage the AI. So that is why I feel like this is what I'm doing right now in my business. I'm doing something called as human managed AI employees, right? So here is the role of me as a human. So it's going to get my responsibility is to give it to direction, give it directions on what we are doing, the risk that what we have against, what we're running against, and the context. This is really important for AI. Like, what is the context that we are moving with? Do we need to be from point A to point B today, now, tomorrow, like 10 days from now, 30 days from now, 360 days, 65 days from now? Context is really important. And constraint. Here are my constraints. Let's suppose if I say that I want to reach out 1 billion people, it can give me like spend out $1 billion a month, and you should be good, right? That's the constraints. You need to give it constraints, saying that here are my constraints that I have. Here is my context. Here are the risks that I already did. This is really important. If you have already did something and it did not work, hey, say that, hey, I did already point A, step one, step two, step three, step four, step five. This did not work. I've tested it for 6 months. That way he knows the direction that we are moving with. Cool. And again, these are all the information that I need to provide it. And as an AI, it will help me execute faster because it analyzes data very fast, and it is repeatable, doesn't get tired, and predictable outputs. That is the most thing that we are looking for, right? And speed of execution, it helps me execute stuff faster. That is what I'm looking for at the end of the day. So if AI is an employee, my job is to not just give it some random information. It's my responsibility is to give it instructions on what matters, which means that for me to give it instructions, I need to have clarity, right? I'll be talking about clarity in a quick second. So here is what it means for you. So what do you do after doing this, after going through this, right? Define the role of AI in your business. Like, AI helps me with blank, so I can focus on blank. You need to have clarity on what you need to do, what AI needs to do in your business, what are your responsibilities, what is the responsibility of an AI that you're going to use. It can be any specific tool, it can be even ChatGPT, it can be Claude, it can be Poppy, it can be any platform that you're thinking about, anywhere that you're using AI. Give it a role in your business, right? So clarity. Let's talk about clarity in a quick second, which actually is the biggest thing that I actually learned. So the biggest question about clarity is, how long do you wait for clarity, right? Clarity on niche, clarity on offer, clarity on how to sell, clarity on who to sell it to, right? What if the real problem is not clarity? What if the real problem is how long you wait for clarity? What if you're running a business? Again, we at the end of the day are all running a business, right? Building a product, selling offers, seeing if the launch is a successful or not, or is there something that we need to tweak to make more revenue for the business, right? And one of the most important thing for anything is time. You can have more, you can make more money in the same time. You can make more, you can get more clarity with more time, less time, depending on what factor it is. But you cannot make more time no matter what you do. Time is something that once gone, it's gone. So clarity comes, here is what I learned. Clarity comes from doing, not just from thinking. For an example, I wanted to launch an offer and validate it, right? And the offer name is called, in fact, I've tested this, which is called Offer Scale School. It took me like, when I decided to do this, when I decided to create this offer, launch it, validate it, it took me like an hour to come up with the offer. It took me like a couple of hours to build the page and the video and the sales video, the script for it, recorded it without any perfection, and launched it. And less than an hour to get it live with a partnership. I reached out to a person of mine, past client of mine, saying that, hey, do you want to promote this offer to your audience? He said, yes, we had a contract. Done. So I had an offer. This was a valuable problem that people want to solve, and it was less than 4 hours for me. And you know what? Before 4 hours of work, I wasted for like 2 years to know, or just thinking around, what should I launch? And this I launched in 2025, November or October month. Okay. And again, I got clarity while I was launching it, while I was doing it. So if you want to improve your marketing, again, the same goes with it. Don't You will not improve in your marketing just by thinking about it, just by getting more clarity on it. You will improve your marketing when you do it. So post and see what happens. The same goes, same thing that I'm doing right now. I wanted to create more content, sell to one to many, get more leads for the business, right? Change from one to one selling to one to many selling. That's a good perspective shift. And I'm doing stuff that makes me move from, again, I do not know if it's going to work or not. Forget about instant rewards, right? That's not something that I want. I want to know, if I do it for the next 10 years, would I win? Would I change my business from one to one to one to many? For certain, right? Again, the thing about with using AI with respect to this is, it will help you give, again, without feedback. Clarity is just a theory, and theory without execution is basically me being a procrastinator for like 2 years. Okay, I do not want you to be in the same path. So this is why AI as an employee is so powerful, because it helps me move faster. Again, this offer, this landing page, this script for the VSL that I had on that landing page was created with the help of AI. That's the reason it was really faster. That helped me create the assets for me to go live, test it faster. So what does this mean? You need to launch one imperfect idea in the next 48 hours. It can be any idea that you have been postponing for the last 2 years, or last 1 month, last one day, right? It doesn't actually take how much time you think it takes for to get the task done. Remember, validation or feedback comes from execution. That's how I got 38 sales before turning on the paid ads for Offer Scale School. I even did not have to turn on paid ads for the Offer Scale School yet. I'm still getting referrals, right? That's one way of getting people. So with that we established that speed of execution is really important than just clarity, because as you execute, you'll get more clarity. And at the same time, while you're executing, the speed of execution, if you want to execute faster, does it mean that the size of the team should be very big? Because the bigger the team, the slower you get, because you need to make sure that you have a lot of people that you need to manage and get on the same board with you, right? Because as I said, too many cooks in the same kitchen is not going to help you make it better. Too many people to communicate. That's delayed action from my end, right? That's something that I saw. At the same time, I cannot do everything. I know that part, because I've been doing that for the last 7 to 8 years. I know that with proof that I cannot do everything. If I have to switch the business model itself. So at the same time, so I cannot do everything. So switching hats from one role to another role, because I was the strategy guy, I was the creator, I was the problem solver, I was the executioner, I was the team member, I was the administrator, I was the whole business. So switching hats from one hat to another is what actually leads to burnout. And that's also one of the reasons, even with high ticket, if I was doing on one, I was not able to scale faster, because I was only limited with how many people that I can work with. It can be 3 or 4 people per month. That is where my cap was. So that is also one of the reasons I want to switch. So every person who needs onboarding, for example, again, just to give you perspective on this, too many people means every person needs onboarding, needs alignment, needs context. Could be the person who who is going to be the entire reason for the delay of the action of all the days if I decides to fly in front of me. Okay, cool. Anyways, a small team who has the same impact. Again, this was the question that I was asking. How can I build a small team who has the same impact as a big business without having a big team? Right? So that is when the whole concept of human managed AI employees came into place that I was talking about right around here, so that I can give the business context and AI will help me execute it. I should not have gone up. But yeah, cool. Here we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm all aligned with the same point. Cool. So every person who needs a new onboarding actually needs alignment, needs context. Could be the person who could be the reason for the delay, right? So some people, some again, biggest question: how can I have the big team impact with small business, small teams? How can I have the same impact as a big team with small team members, right? So that's what led me to human managed AI employees. For example, I, as a founder, have a marketing lead, my business partner, who is responsible for writing AI, who is responsible for creating the AI ads, who is responsible, for example, writing the AI content. That's my role, right? And sales leader, let's suppose a sales leader is responsible for managing the AI setter, managing the if the AI is following up with the prospects or not. Can have an operational lead whose whole point is to create these AI automations and AI based SOPs, so that just in case if there is an update on the platform, the SOPs are not going to be the SOPs have not does not have to be created from scratch, right? So if a new team member is onboarded, if a new entire business leader is onboarded, I do not want them to work from scratch. So that is where these SOPs are going to help me with. So the advantage is AI doesn't get tired with respect to when you're using these AI employees, and the mental load is literally way less because you do not have to pay them hundreds and thousands of dollars every single hour. But at the same time, you can have a employee that is working 24 by 7 and is going to respond to you when you want them to, not when they are available. And also decision fatigue. They're not going to make their decisions like, if I'm super excited, if I'm having a happy news, my decision is going to, my way of processing information and my way of making a decision is significantly higher than how I usually make. If I'm if I'm hitting a rock bottom, the way that I make decisions and my decision capacity is going to be with me down there, right? So with AI, if you're going to use it, I realize that, hey, the decision fatigue only goes down when the server is down. If not, if it's actually good. So that's the reason structuring a small team is really important, who have the knowledge about AI. So what do you do with this information? So write down the list of 3 roles in your business. It can be 3 key roles that you want to install AI. Think about marketing, sales, delivery as an example, right? Identify the repeatable task you are doing already every single week. This can be, hey, I'm following with all the leads manually. I am sending out all the people a webinar registration sign up link. As soon as they register for the webinar, I am sending them the first message. I'm sending them the daily reminders. I'm sending them the weekly reminders. I'm sending them the workshop reminders, like everything as such. Think about one task. Identify how you can delegate it to AI. There are a lot of tools that AI. There are a lot of tools AI is leveraged. There are a lot of tools that you can actually leverage AI to make sure that you can delegate this. A good thing about doing this live is I do not have to prepare and I do not have to do it multiple times. Anyways, context. That's a fourth point that I realize that AI needs a lot of context. Your AI employees will be able to work only based on the context they have. For example, AI writer. This is something that I've really started using. Can write copy like you. Everyone wants copy to be written like an AI, like you, like how I talk, right? But if you do not give it enough context, it will never be able to write it like you. So for example, one thing that you can actually do if you want the copy to be written like you, take all the presentations, take all the calls that you did, take all the trainings that you did, right? And give it as an input to your AI so that it understands how you talk, how you speak, how you take pauses, right? And again, how you talk imperfectly. The whole goal about using copy is to not make it like more perfect. Okay, it is to convey your point very effectively. That's it. That's the purpose of copy in my life, or using AI in my life, to convey my points very straightforwardly without any kind of problems, right? So that the other person can understand it. So that's the whole point of using AI in my business. So AI writer, yeah, that's what I use it for. So if I want the copy, if I want the AI writer to write copy like me, it needs to learn how I talk. For example, this is what I've been using, the tool called Poppy AI. Again, I'll leave the link in the description. You can check it out. I'm using Poppy AI to write ads for my workshop that I'm doing in India, right? So I do not have to give it. The reason I was not able to have to write, I do not have to write the copy from AI from scratch is because of the information that I already fed it. In fact, that's a training that I'll be doing, which is really interesting. That's one of the platforms that I'm using, which I find really interesting because it has an old database that of you. Just a context out of this. So if you're looking at ChatGPT, if you're looking at Claude, if you're looking at uh, whatever Perplexity, AI, Poe, whatever you're using, all right, all of them have their own database that they are referring to create content of, based on, to answer your question based on the prompt that you're giving it. But Poppy has no database. It's literally you have to give it the database on what it should use to respond. So that is the reason I was able to create. It was able to create copies like how I talk, because I was giving it call transcripts for almost like past couple of months of trainings that I was doing in the Offer Scale School. I gave it as an input saying that these are the trainings that I did, these are my beliefs, these are the inputs that I'm giving you to create ads. And yeah, it was 80%, 85% there. And by the way, no one is going to write the perfect AI ads that sounds like you exactly right now. Again, if you're looking for that, it- even if AI writes that for you, it's going to be 99.99%. It's not going to be 100% just like you, because you're unique, right? So the whole goal of taking a copy from AI is that you do not have to start from scratch. So that's how I use AI in for copy in my business. And the second thing is AI ads. So you can use AI to create ads that look like you, that sound like you, if you give it the inputs, right? For example, I'm using Hagen for videos and Lemon Labs to create my voice, and I've connected both of those platforms to create my AI ads. In fact, my AI ads are going to be live from Monday, actually, which is tomorrow. So I'm excited for that, to see what how it performs, how it's going to perform. Again, is it going to be 100% going my way? I do not know, right? Again, you need to execute first to get the feedback, so that you can get the clarity on if this is going to work for the if it's going to work for your business or not. Execution is really important. So here is what you need to do right now. Pick one area in the business. For example, AI voice, copywriting that sounds like you, copy that sounds like you, whatever it is. Feed three examples into your AI tool, whatever the AI tool. For example, I use Poppy AI. If you want to use it, go click the link below. Get the Poppy AI. You give it three examples of what you wanted to use as a knowledge base to create your content, or use as a reference to know about your business, to know about your audience, know about more about you outside of the business. What do you believe outside of the business? That is also something that's really important. For example, I'm a huge fan of Naruto, right? I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z, DBZ. I love playing Pokemon, right? These are the information that it aligns with, so that it can create copy that aligns with you as a person, right? Without having to have without these are some of the stuff that people don't want to share. But yeah, I'm the next thing that I'm going to give input is about solo leveling. There is an anime that I'm watching right now. It's called Solo Level Up or Solo Leveling, and I'm loving it. Right, I'm going to give it on what are the things that I love, based on the personality, based on the situations, based on the context. Everything I'm going to feed it to AI, so that it doesn't only know how I operate in the business world, how I think in general, what I like, what I don't like outside of the business context, so that it knows me personally as well. So yeah, just wanted to share this with you. And these are some of the things that I've realized, or some of the constraints that I realized that, hey, these are some of the constraints that I needed to overcome to launch Offer Scale School and to launch my ads to the workshop that I was running. So just want to share this so that you can actually execute on your business and have some fun. But yeah, if you have any questions, more than happy to take your questions. Leave them in the chat below or leave them in the comments below, and I will have a quick look at them and see you on the next live. Probably 2025, 2026 is more like a live stream thing for me. So that again, I'm going to use all of this database to give AI my inputs on this specific topic so that it learns about how Surya thinks about this specific topic, right? Any content that I create will be fed back to my AI so that it learns more about my thoughts, it learns more about my inputs, it learns more about my ideas, how I think, right? So anyways, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Yeah, have fun, guys. And